Showed you Fox. Let's see what they're talking about on CNN.
All right, breaking overnight, the United Arab Emirates says they are dealing with incoming missiles at the hands of Iran. Saudi Arabia is calling for de-escalation across the region after the United States says Iran targeted 3 American guided missile destroyers as they transited the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. forces then hit a number of Iranian military facilities in response. President Trump says it is just a trifle and that the back and forth is just a love tap.
They trifled with us today. We blew them away. They trifled. I call that a trifle. I'll let you know when there's no ceasefire. You won't have to know. If there's no ceasefire, you're not going to have to know. You're just going to have to look at one big glow coming out of Iran. And they better sign their agreement fast.
All right, with us now is Congressman Pete Aguilar from California. He's the third-ranking Democrat in the House. And Congressman, we did just get a bit of breaking news. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who's in Italy, says he expects a response from the Iranians today on whatever this current peace proposal is. Generally speaking, how much progress do you see?
You know, I think what the American people see is they see a war of choice. They see skyrocketing gas prices. They see a president who will go on TV and say whatever he needs to do to try to quell the crude market. They see rising costs that they're facing. 13 casualties through this war, hundreds more injured, billions of dollars have expended,
and not a single goal completed. That's the worst part about it. Like everything he listed, that's true. We've lost a lot of things, but the problem is none of our goals have been completed. Like, yeah, you're right. 13 lives lost, like over $20 billion spent, and we have not completed no goals. Regime change, not done. Missiles and drones still operational. Strait of Hormuz still controlled by Iran. But look at all we've given, and then look what we're paying. And the Republicans are still hitting you with the, oh well, you should be happy for paying the higher gas prices. At least Iran doesn't have a bomb, even though they never had a bomb.
The administration has failed to articulate what their goals and objectives are. So that's what we see, and that's what the American people feel.
I should know gas prices ticked down 1 cent last night. They're still up over a quarter from last week, or over 25 cents from last week,
and $1.50 since the start.
I mean, and $1.50 since the war began. But do you see progress? Do you feel as if it could be winding down?
It's hard to know because the administration says there's a ceasefire, yet we're still engaging in that. It's just their effort to evade oversight and accountability with the War Powers Act that Marco Rubio says is unconstitutional now, even though as a senator he felt a different way. So that's the difficulty that we see. It's tough to know what progress is because the administration hasn't articulated to the American people what the clear objectives and what the end game is. What does the president want to see out of this war? When will it end? When can we see relief? That's on the president. He has failed to do that.
Oil prices are, there we go. You can see Brent crude up a tick. West Texas basically flat. This is after U.S. and Iranian forces exchanged fire yesterday. The UAE says it's dealing with incoming missiles. The oil, not a big move, frankly, with all the activity over the last 24 hours, indicating maybe the oil traders did not see it escalating further. With us now, CNN national and political analyst David Sanger. He's also a White House correspondent for the New York Times. Also here, former major staff director for the House Intelligence Committee, Michael Allen. David, I just want to start with you on the situation we've seen over the last 24 hours. We've seen U.S. strikes, right, on Iranian targets here and here in the Gulf. And we've seen, really, overnight, the UAE saying they're dealing with incoming missiles somewhere off the coast here. This doesn't feel much like a ceasefire with all the firing.
Bruh.
It sure doesn't. And, John, you heard the president last night say that it was just...
Man, they just don't want to run down that 60-day clock. That's really what it is.
A trifle at one point. He said the U.S. response, which was somewhat vigorous when the Iranians attacked, understandably, was just a love tap. He is doing everything that he can to keep some kind of an agreement from going off the rails. And the reason's pretty clear. Not only is this now gone on for 10 weeks or so, but he leaves on Tuesday to go to China. And China's really, that trip has really been the bookmark for him for what he hoped would be the end of the war. He wanted to show up there, having vanquished the Iranians, gotten them to give up their nuclear program, and of course, reopen the strait, which supplies 30% or so of all the oil and gas flowing into to China. He's going to show up right now, at least on current evidence, unless things turn in the next few days, with none of that accomplished.
Look, Michael, let me just ask you, since David brought it up, the president is going to China on this visit. How do the Chinese view the United States and view this situation now? David's paper, the New York Times, had a great headline today, basically quoting a Chinese official saying they see the U.S. as a superpower with a limp.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. They pretty much said, screw our sanctions. Yeah. China pretty much said, yo, screw our sanctions. We're still going to sell our oil. We're still going to do what we do. And that's the wild part, because it kind of shows how reckless China's getting when they sit there and just tell us to our face, yo, F your sanctions. That's a problem. And I mean, there's other problems going on, like the UAE leaving OPEC. And then we got also them trying to get more in line with, what was it? Pakistan? Nope, never mind. Nope, that's Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is trying to get more in line with Pakistan.
Yeah, I think the Chinese are probably looking at us struggle a bit and are.
Oh, no, that's what the UAE is doing. Yeah, they're going to start pumping out more oil, and they want to be able to dabble in other currencies. So they're going to go outside of the petrodollar, aka the American dollar, and they're going to start trading some of their oil, you know, American dollar, and Chinese yuan. So yeah, prepare for that BS.
Are wondering what the United States' plan is to get out of this. You know, I agree with what David said. I think the president is going out of his way to make sure that hostilities don't resume in a large way. Of course, there's some that they define as under the threshold. But honestly, I don't see how the president gets Iran to even discuss meaningful compromises unless he holds out the credible use of force and restores the safe passage mission that successfully got 2 ships through the straits earlier this week. It wasn't without cost, and it would still be a great risk, but it was the first direct attempt to negate the Iranian leverage that they have over us and the world by controlling the straits. And I think ultimately that's going to be the only way out of this.
You know, David, Michael there is talking about this operation called Project Freedom, which was designed to get, you know, vessels out of the straits. A grand total of 2 were able to pass through there. But the costs seem to have been, and we're just learning this over the last 24 hours, David, a diplomatic rift with Saudi Arabia and with Kuwait, which didn't want any part of it. What does that tell you? Now, apparently, they're more amenable to the whole idea. But the fact that they didn't have them on board at the beginning, David, where does that leave things?
Well, the first thing it tells you is that the administration.
Oh, guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen, and let's get to 100 likes. We got over 400 y'all in here, so we just need probably about 24 of y'all to double tap that screen and like the video.
Is having a hard time learning the lessons from even the beginning of this war. You'll remember that the Saudis and the UAE were not given notice about when the war was going to begin. And the next thing they knew, the Iranians were taking it out on them, right? Launching missiles at their sites and their bases and their oil fields or oil production facilities. So he started in on this Project Freedom, which, as Michael says, you know, is a much needed effort to get this open. But again, didn't do full consultation, it appears, on what this would be, how they might all participate, certainly how they'd prepare for it. And all of a sudden, they pulled the plug on it. And the president came up with another excuse for halting it. Those 2 ships, just to put it in perspective.
All right, though, let's go ahead and get over to, back over to the right here. One of the big guys, Jesse Waters. Let's see here. Let's go with the most current one, which would be this one right here. Man, came out with 2 shows today.
Fox News alert, we just hit 2 Iranian tankers in the Strait. U.S. Central Command releasing this video of F-18 Super Hornets blasting 2 Persian blockade runners. The Sea Star 3 and Sevda were sneaking into an Iranian port when they were ordered to turn around. The ships were non-compliant, and then they got sprayed with 22-millimeter machine gun fire right into their smokestacks. The Super Hornets were deployed from our carrier, the USS H.W. Bush, CENTCOM says the two ships were disabled on the spot and had to abandon mission. The ships are massive, but they had no crude on board. They were empty and desperate because Iran's onshore storage is nearly at max capacity. More on that later. This is now the third Iranian tanker that we've love tapped this week. On Wednesday, Super Hornets from the USS Lincoln fired several rounds from a 20-millimeter cannon gun into another Iranian tanker's rudder. It was actually the first time an American fighter jet shot at a cargo ship ever. CENTCOM says multiple commercial vessels have been disabled and more than 50 have been redirected by CENTCOM forces to ensure compliance. The Strait's seen a lot of action in the last 48 hours. Yesterday, the Iranians fired at our guided missile destroyers.
I'm actually happy they were able to get those two ships turned around, because the main problem is that Iran's been getting out a lot of shadow fleets. That's why I was kind of grilling the guy who said, well, we got two ships out. Like, yeah, well, Iran got 20 out. So, and straight to China, by the way. So, yeah, if you're impressed with two, well, Iran did 20. And I'm actually happy that they're able to turn a lot of these ships around, because Iran was kind of getting away with these shadow fleets. And it kind of took us, it didn't take us too long. It didn't take us too long to figure it out, because this is actually the first time we actually had to focus on these shadow fleets so close up. It took us about 2 days, but within those 2 days, they was able to get through 20 ships. It just lets you know the effectiveness of these shadow fleets.
And that was a bad decision.
The point is, if there's not much seizing in the firing, because we've
well, you should ask that of the Iranians. Don't ask me. We didn't fire. They fired on us. My point is, if you fire at a U.S. Navy ship, what are we supposed to do? Say, oh, there's a ceasefire. We're not going to shoot down your drone. That's a stupid question. That's a stupid position to take. Of course we fired back at them. They were shooting at us. That's what I would expect to do. Only stupid countries don't shoot back when you're shot at. And we're not a stupid country.
The president says if the Iranians think that's bad, then get ready.
Is the ceasefire with Iran still on?
Yeah, it is. It's they trifled with us today. We blew them away. They trifled. I call that a trifle. I'll let you know when there's no ceasefire. You won't have to know. If there's no ceasefire, you're not going to have to know. You're just going to have to look at one big glow coming out of Iran. And they better sign their agreement fast.
The Iranians are talking a lot of smack. Their foreign minister says this, quote, every time a diplomatic solution is on the table, the U.S. opts for a reckless military adventure. Whatever the cause's outcome is the same, Iranians never bow to pressure. Sending 18-year-olds on Boston whalers at American missile-guided destroyer, that's a reckless military adventure.
I mean, well, what are we? Never mind. I ain't gonna judge. I mean, like, well, hold on, bro. What you think we're doing? But all right, never mind.
Fire when fired upon. And today, the Iranians lobbed more missiles and drones at the UAE. Rubio says someone's going to have to teach these guys a lesson.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, instead of just trying to fire at our ships, they fired at an easier target, our ally, the UAE. And now the UAE was able to intercept most of those missiles, but yes, some made it through. And that's a problem with these missile defense systems. Even as sophisticated ones like the Iron Dome, they can be overwhelmed or bypassed through with a hypersonic missile.
Or the whole world will turn into pirates.
Iran now claims that they have a right to control an international waterway. They claim that they have a right to control it. What is the world going to do about that? Is the world going to accept that Iran now controls an international waterway?
Because well, here's the problem. I mean, the world is looking at us like, yo, you started this. You made the mess. Now clean it up. And that's perfectly fair for them to say. Like, yes, we started this war. We created this mess. I think it's fair that the world sits back and be like, no, bro, you clean this up. I ain't risking my military equipment. I'm not putting no money into this. I'm not the one who wanted to get into this. You did, so you clean it up. Not just sit there, make this fucking mess and be like, oh, you're a bitch ass nigga for not wanting to help me clean it. Like, bro, you made the mess. Sorry.
If the world is prepared to accept that, then be ready, because there's like 10 other countries that are going to start doing the same thing in their international waterways, or in international waterways near their countries. That's an unacceptable thing that they're trying to normalize.
The president's wall of steel's working. The blockades already turned around 57 commercial ships. Here's the USS Truxtun.
Oh, and here's the thing. I'm sorry, but if the strongest navy in the world cannot open up the Strait of Hormuz, what makes you think these guys can? Oh, I'm sorry, but like, bro, if there's ever an army that descended from the sky that can beat us, the rest of the world is cooked, because if you could beat us, you could beat everybody else. If you can keep off our Navy, you can keep off everybody else's Navy. So I'm sorry, but they're looking at us going like, bro, if y'all can't do it, neither can we. So what do you want us to get involved for when y'all are literally the strongest army in the world and y'all can't do it? But you want us to join? Bruh, all right, bro, you better kick rocks on that note. And that's how a lot of these countries are looking at us right now.
USS Rafael Peralta and USS Mason operating in the Arabian Sea, just a day after they sank a Mosquito Fleet six-pack. CENTCOM says 70 Iranian tankers are trapped with over 160 million barrels of oil on board. That's $13 billion of oil just rocking on the docks. They're filled to the brim and can't squeak out of the embargo.
Yeah, I know. So's our allies like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Oman. Like, bro, Iraq, like, bro, all these guys are going through the same thing Iran is. So it's kind of crazy when you sit here and just focus on Iran when I'm like, bro, you know, our allies are getting hurt in the same way, right? They're going through the same struggle, but not as worse as Iran, but just, well, not as actually, but Iran's actually going through it a little better. Why? Because they have the Caspian Sea that they can transport their oil through. These other countries don't. I mean, they could try to go through the Red Sea, but the Houthis might just start popping off and close that down. Well, they could actually.
And now the New York Times, they're reporting that the Iranians are dumping millions of barrels of crude into the Gulf. Satellite images show a massive oil slick spreading into the water off Karg Island. That doesn't look too good. Primetime reached out to Al Gore for comment. Haven't heard back. We haven't heard anything from any Democrat condemning Iranian economic or environmental terrorism.
Bro, I'm sorry, but why would they I'm sorry, here's the thing. Look, we all condemn it. And actually, I've had heard Democrats condemn it. The problem is, though, they're still going to sit there and be like, yeah, but we weren't dealing with any of this until you got into this war that nobody agrees with. Well, but the sicko fans for Donald Trump, except for them. So why would they sit there and harp on Iran when we're over here looking at our leadership like, you know, you're complaining about all this shit that we wouldn't be dealing with, whatsoever if you didn't hop inside this war. If you didn't let Israel drag us into this war, we wouldn't be dealing with the Strait of Hormuz being closed. We wouldn't be wasting money and wasting munition in Iran. I mean, none of this would be happening. Oh, and gas prices wouldn't be through the fucking roof. So yeah, they're gonna sit there and get on y'all ass and completely ignore the fact that yeah, Iran is closing down an international waterway. They're gonna ignore the fact that yes, there's also what environmental terrorism, whatever the fuck that means. So, bro, yeah, we get it, but you guys started it. The Trump administration started this and dragging us along with all the consequences that's coming with it. And now y'all telling us, well, why don't y'all get mad at the Democrats for not calling out what the Iranians doing? Because the Iranians wasn't doing this before you started this war. But all right. Oh, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video.
Another thing we're waiting on, the mullahs.
We should know something today. I mean, we're expecting a response from them. We'll see what the response entails. The hope is it's something that it can put us into a serious process of negotiation.
We can get it at any moment tonight, but can we trust it? The hardliners want war because they don't know if they can survive another round of protests. And no one's seen or heard from the gay Ayatollah. Sources say his status is Wizard of Oz meets Weekend at Bernie's. The people we're negotiating with can't be.
I'm sorry, but if you don't know that this war is more unpopular than Iran, that majority of the American people do not agree with this war. Over 60%, this war is less popular than in Vietnam. Like, if you don't understand that, then I'm sorry, but you're living under, I mean, really, I ain't gonna say you're living under a rock. You're just choosing not to hear out the other side. And this is the problem with MAGA, is that y'all insulating yourselves within each other. You're not willing to listen to the independents and see how they're doing. You're definitely not gonna listen to the Dems. You're just gonna stay inside y'all little echo chamber, and anybody who tried to burst y'all little bubble, you're gonna lash out at. And that's all I've been seeing. Is that crazy with you guys at this point? I mean, it's crazy to a point where I tell you the truth, and you're saying you're on the side of Iran. Like, no, I'm literally telling you what the people in the center and the left are thinking, like on the other side. And for some reason, you only care about what y'all side think, but it's more than just y'all side that votes. It's more than just y'all side that live in this country. I would hope that you know this and remember it. Remember it, because it's going to smack your hard come midterms.
be trusted either. Their lead guy, a bit of a swindler.
We've said we're not going to take him out initially, and at least we have somebody reasonable to talk to. But he wrote a book in 2024 about the power of negotiation, and his parents were rug merchants. And you have to, if you've ever bought a rug in a bazaar, you kind of understand the bartering that goes back and forth. I don't trust him.
The president says he might restart Project Freedom and plus other things, quote unquote, if the mullahs don't sign the deal. General Jack Keane says the best deal.
Oh, and bro, just for transparency, no, I voted for Donald Trump. Yes, I voted for Donald Trump. But when I voted for Donald Trump, I ain't vote for Donald Trump because he's Donald Trump. I voted for Donald Trump because of his America First agenda. Once he started going outside of that America First agenda, he started turning into a complete corporatist and neocon. That's when I can no longer support, because I didn't support Donald Trump because he's Donald Trump. I supported Donald Trump because of what he ran on. And once he went outside of that, I'm not supporting that no more. And I'm surprised that there are people in MAGA still supporting it, because they'd agreed with me when they was agreeing with me during the election. They was agreeing with me all through 2025. Now Trump pops off this war, become a neocon, a corporatist, and now they're making excuses for it. It's insane, but hey, this is where we're at.
Deal? Probably no deal.
But no, I would say I'm more center right.
I think the prospects of a good deal are likely slim. And even if we do get a deal, here's the problem with any deal that we make, assuming it meets all of our objectives. To get a deal, we will have to provide some funding for the Iranians, admittedly condition-based, and also sanction relief. So when you draw back from that,
no, shout out to what Brian's saying, because like that's honestly what I truly stand for. Like, you guys got to understand. When I voted for Donald Trump and his whole Make America Great Again agenda, I'm honestly voting in the best intention, not just for myself or what I see best for the American people. Like, I want all of us to eat. I want all of us to win. And our government should want that too. But that's not the case. So, and here's the thing. I could disagree with Donald Trump and still love my country, of course, and still love my people. And that's the reason why I'm disagreeing with Donald Trump, because I love my people so much, to the point where I don't want to see you pay higher gas prices. I don't want to see inflation go up and see your dollar worth less. I don't want to see none of that for myself or you as an American. We're all on the same side at the end of the day here. So trust me, I can disagree with Donald Trump because I love my American people so much. I love my nation that much to not want to see any of us go through this. But apparently some of you guys love Donald Trump more than you love the American people. And that's just the facts right there. Which I wish what wasn't, but I mean, look, man, the way y'all talking, y'all showing it. All right.
After a negotiated settlement, what do we have? We have a regime that survives and also ability to recover. And I think that is fundamentally flawed.
The president could go either way, epic fury or economic fury. Two great tools. Trump's used both of them. The question is, which one gets the best results? If their pea shooters keep firing, why not knock out the toll booths? Keane says, why not go for the crown jewel?
We have an ace here up our sleeve, so to speak. It's Kirk Island, and we're obviously blocking it now from any transport coming out of there, and that represents 90%, of their oil resources. So clearly the blockade over time will force an economic collapse. But we can hold Kirk Island hostage. If you're going to take
Oza, that is a terrible argument. I do not think you want to use that. He said, so you forgot that Trump's been talking about Iran for 40 years? No, bro, because you're bringing up an interview that he did in the 80s where he was talking, talking like a war hawk for Iran. But what happened after the 80s? Oh, yeah, Middle Eastern intervention that kind of showed how bad of an idea, like getting into a war with Iran was, how bad of an idea getting into Iraq was, how bad of an idea getting into Afghanistan was. Yeah, all that. So it's kind of crazy and insane to bring up. I'm sorry, not insane, but it's kind of crazy to sit there and bring up an interview from the 1980s to substantiate your point on, oh, he was always for war with Iran. No, he wasn't. I'm sorry, but it is really disingenuous to bring up an interview from the 80s when in 2016 he was talking about no new wars with Iran, no new wars in the Middle East. And thing is, he explicitly called out Iran. So it's kind of even more insane how you guys even make that argument like we weren't there. Like, we all weren't there in 2016 hearing this man condemn Barack Obama, talking about if you get into war with Iran, you can't negotiate and you should be fired as a president. You hearing Donald Trump talking about, oh, all this stuff in the Middle East was a waste, forever wars, no new more. But and yet here you are defending the same shit this man was speaking out against. I cannot believe it.
Qatar's natural gas, or the Saudis or the UAE's oil fields, we're going to begin to take cargo.
And I got you. You know, guys, quick little intervention, quick little break, 4-minute break. Enjoy the video.
Hey, President Trump, how are those mass deportations going?
They said, you got to lighten up on this. We have a lot of heart for people. They came in illegally, but they're good people and they're working now on farms.
I have proposed, and President Trump has concurred, that this surge operation conclude.
Oh. Well, surely no new wars in the Middle East like you've campaigned on for years, right?
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. We should have never gone into the Middle East. We should have never gone into the Middle East. Under my leadership, we will turn the page forever on those foolish, stupid days. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. You're not going to have a war with me, and you're not going to have a third world war with me. The United States military began major combat operations in Iran.
Donald Trump issued an ultimatum to Iran: open the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours or America will attack their power plants.
Why is the Pentagon going to ask Congress for an additional $200 billion?
So we're in very good shape, but we want to be in the best shape.
Oh. So why are we going to war with Iran again?
You know, if we didn't do that B-2 attack, Israel would have been wiped out. They would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks after that.
Because Israel was determined to act with or without the U.S., our Commander-in-Chief and the administration and the officials I just named had a very difficult decision to make.
Miriam gave my campaign, indirectly, $250 million. She was number one. Miriam and Sheldon would come into the office. I think they had more trips to the White House than anybody else I can think of. But they were very responsible for so much, including getting me thinking about Golan Heights.
Oh. Well, I'm sure there will be zero repercussions for this war, and it's probably only going to go on for like a week, right?
As we head into week 4 of this war. As gas prices climb across the country, President Trump pressured allies to help secure safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz.
A major shipping route for oil has effectively been shut down amid this war, sending shockwaves through the markets, with gas jumping nationwide from an average of $2.92 in Kansas to more than $5 a gallon in California.
Look, gas prices are up. And we know they're up, and we know that people are hurting because of it.
Well, at least we as the MAGA movement still collectively agree that child transitioning is wrong, right? Okay. How about those Epstein files?
So this is a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president. What this whole thing is with Epstein is a way of trying to deflect from the tremendous success that the Republican Party had. But don't talk about it too much because honestly, I don't want to take it away from us. It's really a Democrat problem. The Democrats were Epstein's friends.
So who gave the order to flag records related to President Trump? To flag any records which included his name?
I'm not going to discuss anything about that with you, Senator.
Eventually, you're going to have to answer for your conduct in this.
Oh. Well, it kind of seems to me like the Republican president has slowly transitioned into a Democrat president. Hey, MAGA, why are we voting for these people again? One thing is certain. We didn't leave MAGA. MAGA left us. But the question is, are we going to allow that? Or are we going to take the reins from the man who started it all, but has sadly become the opposition to everything that we stand for? Or are we going to continue to lick the boot and bend the knee to people who don't give a shit about us? They use us for our vote. They lie directly to our faces. They protect child predators. They want to grant mass amnesty to millions of illegal immigrants. And now they're totally fine with children being mutilated and indoctrinated by their crazy-ass liberal parents. Fuck Trump, fuck Vance, fuck Rubio, fuck the Republican Party as a whole, fuck the Democrats, fuck them all. This is not the shit that we signed up for. Wake the fuck up.
Please wake up. And didn't that disprove my point Oh yeah, if you're wondering what you were talking about, oh yeah, Republicans are going for this whole Dignity Act, and it's to give amnesty to undocumented immigrants, and it's being pushed by Republicans, by the way. So yeah. And oh wait, yeah, didn't that video also prove that Iran? Well, that Trump was pretty much against war with Iran, in 2016, 15, even 14. So what does that tell you? All right then, let's get back to it, and don't forget to like the video, guys. Appreciate the support.
Away from you in terms of physical destruction.
And this just in. The U.S. Special Operations Command ship.
I'm sorry. Somebody said I listened to the news, not the man. I'm sorry, bro. Go through my catalog, bro. During the election, I pretty much listened to every Trump rally, every one. I've listened to Trump more than you guys, and I know that for a fact. I've listened to almost every Trump rally. I probably listened to maybe over 1 million hours of Trump interviews included. So please don't tell me I'm not listening to the man. I hear this man every goddamn day. Like, even when I don't want to.
Trader was just spotted near our base in Diego Garcia. The last time it came out to play, the Maduro raid. The ship hasn't even been photographed in 3 years. These things come packed with super stallions, ospreys, night stalkers, with a 50 caliber machine gun station on the upper deck and a floating command center. This could mean something's about to go down. And Southcom's been working on some new next-gen drone tech, toys for the boys. So who knows what...
But all right, though, let's get into, oh, wow, my bad. The energy drink is getting to me. But let's go ahead and get into the next video here. Where is it at? Here it is. Russia exposed for secret plan to help Iran in new report. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Oh, and double tap that screen and like the video, guys. I think we're over 100 likes. So let's even get to 200 likes, guys. And make sure to subscribe to the channel while you're at it. Hit that icon above. Subscribe to the channel. We do this every day. Or, 6 days out the week. 1 day.
John, as the U.S. awaits Iran's response, a brand new report is revealing more about how Russia is assisting Iran, offering up training and thousands of drones. Let's bring in Dan Hoffman, former CIA station chief in Moscow and Fox News contributor. Dan, you've seen the report. What do you make of it?
Well, there are a lot of unanswered questions. It's a report that The Economist obtained. We don't know from whom or when. And it's purported to be an intelligence report from Russia's military intelligence, the GRU, about how Russia would support Iran by providing them with drones that we would be unable to jam. So the Russians have been using those in Ukraine to great effect. And that would create problems for us if they're not giving out radio signals that we might be able to jam. That and tactical intelligence would enhance Iran's war effort against us. Now, the report indicated, The Economist indicated that the report might have been obtained around the time that the Trump administration...
Yo, that's crazy. So hold on. Russia to give Iran 5K drones and training. Wait, training? For what? The drones? Ah, crap. I knew it. It makes sense. Because think about it like this, guys. I kind of knew Russia was going to do this because, it's kind of get back for what we're doing to them in Ukraine. How we're sending, we used to send weapons to Ukraine, but we were pretty much giving Ukraine weapons. And we were kind of pretty much making the war kind of stretch out because we was giving Ukraine all these weapons. So I think Russia is trying to get their get back. They're like, all right, cool. You want to do that to me in Ukraine? Let's see how you like it in Iran. I'm gonna start sending weapons. I'm gonna start giving them training and effort. I'm gonna start giving them money too. And we'll see how long it takes for you guys to take them out. Now, I'm just speculating, but I'm gonna be real with you. This actually looks like that's the plan. This looks like get back.
Was contemplating mounting a ground incursion of Karg Island. And so the Russian response may have been designed to counter that sort of
And shout out to my man Guest Duty says hooligan politics need to end. Both parties are trash. Both sides are fucked, and both are too busy hating the other side to realize they are both. Yeah, they are being fucked. I mean, no, you're on, bro. Shout out Guest Duty on that one. Because at this point, no, we got to admit it. Both parties suck. both parties are bought off by the corporate elites. Both parties, for some reason, want the same thing, but act like they don't. I mean, bro, we got Republicans pushing for amnesty. I thought that was a Democrat thing. I thought that was for the leftists, the liberals. But no, we got so-called conservatives out here pushing for amnesty, so-called the Dignity Act. And it's Republicans, by the way. So it kind of lets you know that, yeah, both sides are very shady individuals. They don't really care about the American people. They just care about getting your vote and then selling out to the highest bidder. And once they set out to the highest bidder, they toss y'all asses off to the side, and then they'll come back to you for election. You know, they'll be like, please, I know I sold you out to the corporate billionaires, but please vote for me again.
An attack by the Trump
And
administration.
you will.
But look, in spite of what we don't know about this report, it's absolutely consistent with the way Vladimir Putin would be.
I do like migrants. I love immigrants. I just don't like the undocumented immigrants that are here that's pretty much driving down wages. And because they're here, yes, I mean, they can drive down wages and these people can pay you less. And I mean, bro, even with H-1B visas, these guys take jobs from scholars and drive down wages at the same damn time. So it's not that I don't like immigrants. It's just not immigrants, but immigration just does not work out for America. Nor does it work out for the country that they're leaving, because when they're just leaving that country in tatters and or just leaving it war torn, while they're coming over to a country that really don't have the resources for them to be here, and the people are only getting more frustrated towards that group of people. And I don't want hatred towards the immigrants, but when we're going through such hard economic times and we're seeing scarcity in resources, bro, dumping people into here is the worst thing you can do. And all you're going to do is create a bitterness towards those people that they really don't deserve. But hey, it is what it is. That, and we have laws. So I would hope we want to follow the law, make sure nobody who's not supposed to be in here is out of here, and we just leave it at that. But I'm gonna be real with you. Overall immigration does not help America. All it does is hurt us, and it hurts the country that they're coming from as well.
Behave towards the United States in the Middle East.
But I do love people, though. What can I say? I do love people. I love people in my country the most, but I love the people around the world as well.
We saw it in Afghanistan, where Russia provided material support to the Taliban to help their effort against us.
Here is some of the report from The Economist on the secret document, Dan, revealing what they say are Russia's plans to aid Iran. The secret plan involves Russia providing Iran with 5,000 short-range fiber optic drones of the sort used in the war in Ukraine, an unknown number of longer-range satellite-guided drones, and training to use both sorts. Here's more from The Economist report. It details, Dan, fiber optic drones, by contrast, have transformed the battlefield in Ukraine by creating large...
Nah, those fiber optic drones are crazy. So pretty much it's like these drones on these little fiber wires that go for miles and miles, like a big old roll, and it's just connected to this string. I think those are the fiber optic drones that I was watching a video of these little war videos in Ukraine, and I was seeing how they were in use, and you can literally see like the little wire behind them while it's flying. It's low-key kind of cool.
Gray zones in which vehicles and soldiers in the open are attacked remorselessly. Instead of being guided using radio signals, which can be jammed, operators control them through thin wires that spool out behind them. Operators can use them to conduct pinpoint attacks at ranges of over 40 kilometers. So considering all of this, Dan, how could or should this change or alter our strategy, the United States strategy with Iran?
Well, I think we've already been factoring this into our strategy. Look, the Russians have been unable to deter the United States from launching the attacks on Iran. Russia was unable to do anything when their ally Bashar al-Assad was toppled from power. He's now living in Moscow. I'm quite sure that the Iranians have been asking the Russians for help. And I'm sure we're detecting that, collecting on that through our intelligence sources from CIA and other agencies.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be real with you. It's really hard. Well, one, Iran's a way more formidable foe than Syria. I mean, yeah, and their army is way more, I would say their army's way more formidable than Syria. So you can't really compare the two. I mean, that's the problem why nobody really wants to go to war with Iran, because it's literally the strongest country in that region outside of Israel, of course. because Israel got nukes.
So I don't think this would be much of a surprise to Director Ratcliffe as well as President Trump. And as far as how we counteract this, I think we need to be prepared for it. And perhaps we may seek to interdict any shipments from Russia and carry on with our policy, which, as Hugh Hewitt eloquently described, means denying Iran any nuclear enrichment, staying with our strategic objectives. I don't think that these drones are a game breaker. We have the military capability to deal with them.
Meanwhile, I'll finish off with Marco Rubio earlier today saying that U.S. isn't a stupid country. He firmly responded to the activity and questions about it earlier today. Listen.
What you saw yesterday was U.S. destroyers moving through international waters being fired upon by the Iranians, and the U.S. responded defensively to protect itself. Of course, we fired back at them. They were shooting at us. That's what I would expect to do. Only stupid countries don't shoot back when you're shot at, and we're not a stupid country.
Dan, I'll give you a final thought on that.
Fair.
Yeah, look, there's lots of ways to deal with the drones, and whatever Iran has left of their ballistic missiles, that's at the point of attack. Hit the launchers, hit the sites where the drones are being launched, and we'll have the intelligence to do that.
Got it. Dan, always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right, let's get over to the next video. Somebody said something in the chat that was extremely fair. I mean, that's fair. Somebody said, all right, everybody want to go after immigrants, but nobody want to go after the guys or the business owners who hire these immigrants. And that's true. That is definitely true. It's like there is a lack of attention on the people who hire illegal immigrants. Like we just don't go after them for some reason. And I think we do that because we know it's like construction guys, farmers, and all that good stuff. And yeah, for some reason, those guys are being protected. But I promise you, if we did start locking up people for hiring illegal immigrants, it would stop. Like they would honestly have nowhere to go when they stop coming here if these